Story 1. Definitely any and all home appliance engineering. I am tired of being forced to either pay someone to fix things or pay to replace them. Story 2. Instantly learn all programming languages and be able to make a significant amount of money. Story 3. I want to learn how to become wealthy quickly. After that, I will have time to learn any other skill I desire. Story 4. Finally sexually satisfy a woman. Flying. Flying would be cool. Like Superman. Story 5. Playing the piano just for fun and to impress my friends. Story 6. Cooking. Nothing brings people or a party together like solid food. Story 7. Chemistry. Understanding complex chemical problems and the synthesis of substances is an important skill. I know basic physics, which covers the very small scale quantum mechanics and the large scale classical mechanics. However, I do not have intermediate chemistry knowledge because I had to drop it in high school due to having too many science classes. I also completed 2 physics modules at university. Story 8. Lying. Everyone who does it well is successful in life. Politicians, lawyers, billionaires, and others. Story 9. I would love to be able to play any and all musical instruments effortlessly, and also be able to sing in tune and melodiously. Story 10. Mathematics opens many doors to various fields. Story 11. Animation I cannot even draw, but I would love to express my ideas. Story 12. I would choose to master a musical instrument such as the piano. Story 13. I enjoy playing the guitar because I really like it, but I am not very good at practicing. Story 14. I would very much like to learn every programming language. Those jobs seem to pay well. Story 15. Mastering the art of negotiation to navigate life's challenges, secure the best outcomes, and build strong, mutually beneficial relationships. Story 16. Entering a building using explosives, firing guns and holding hostages, carrying large amounts of money, driving very fast through a city while being shot at, leaving the country without being detected. Story 17. Guitar. I played viola in high school, and you cannot do much with that on your own outside of a community orchestra. Story 18. Baking. I have attempted to bake multiple times. However, each time I try, it ends up not turning out well, so I have completely given up and lost interest. You should never stay on a sinking ship. Story 19. Learning how to say no. I have no idea if it is considered a skill, but it was something I had to teach myself. Story 20. Efficient and fast programming of front-end and back-end development. Unlimited revenue opportunity. Story 21. To take advantage of synchronicity when it happens and to discern the meaning. I also have intrusive thoughts that sometimes come to pass. It would be nice to hone what I already have. Story 22. Be able to learn languages very fast and speak fluently. To be able to speak to anyone, anywhere. Story 23. Sociable. I want to be more social to understand the hints people give me. Story 24. The skill to learn all other skills instantly. Additionally, the skill to foresee events in any place and time. That would be pretty interesting, I guess. Along with 50 pages of small text to ensure there are no unwanted side effects. Story 25. Developing expert-level coding skills to innovate, solve complex problems, and create groundbreaking technology that can shape the future. Story 26. Music production is my passion because I love hip-hop. I know I could never be a rapper, but making impressive beats gives me a similar feeling. Story 27. Science so that I could try to cure illnesses or make advances to help humanity. Story 28. Spanish is the most spoken first language in the world, surpassing both Chinese and English. Story 29. To play the guitar like James Marshall Hendrix. Rockstar life. Here I come. Story 30. Improvising because it feels necessary. Story 31. I'd love to be able to draw anything that comes to mind, create art for my friends, and earn money from commissions. Story 32. My skill is the ability to learn new skills quickly and acquire multiple skills with ease. Story 33. Cough, sneeze, and pass gas at the same time. Just imagine the possibilities. Story 34. Definitely multiple languages. I was thinking if I had to pick just one, what would it be? Since others have said multiple languages, I agree. Easy choice. Story 35. Fluency in Russian. There are so many Russians in my country, and I just cannot understand them. Story 36. Either mastery of painting and drawing or some form of musicianship, preferably singing. Story 37. Personal financial management or playing the trombone. One would be very useful and provide a better future for me and my family, and the other would help me manage my money. Story 38. Putting my thoughts and feelings into concrete words so that I can have better control over them. Story 39. Sign language is important because it is not solely the responsibility of hard of hearing or deaf individuals to ensure inclusion among hearing people. Story 40. Not sure if it has been said before, but learning multiple languages helps connect with more people in different countries. Story 41. Listening means truly paying attention. It's surprising how many people just wait for the other person to stop talking. Even more surprising is how many others cannot wait that long. Story 42. Figure skating. If my skills were consistent for the rest of my life, I would be so happy. Story 43. Coding. Easily get a job, easily fix my own technology. There is a lot coding can do. Story 44. Singer-songwriter with an acoustic guitar. It is portable and those musicians earn a lot of money. If you do not want to be publicly famous, you can still get rich writing hit songs for other people. Story 45. Teleportation. Imagine skipping traffic and long flights, simply appearing wherever you want to be. Story 46. Technology, I want to know all of it. Crazy, outrageous, futuristic technology. Story 47. Master hacking skills and become an ethical hacker to earn income. Story 48. Obviously, language is the best answer. But it made me think, if you could ask this question to a society not connected by a global communication network, what would those people answer? Story 49. How to get more participants for my 5-minute global survey in India. Takes 5 minutes, is anonymous, and very quick. We have 27 countries and languages represented. Story 50. How to market nude pictures of myself to potential buyers. Story 51. I would love to play many different instruments, especially piano, violin, and banjo. Story 52. To speak German and Chinese. I already speak Spanish, which is my native language, English, and French. I tried learning German, but it has been too difficult for me. I think Chinese would be useful. Story 53. Computer networking. It would be great to be able to make and run Category 6 cables through my home flawlessly or set up a secondary router as a hub or access point, but I always fail. Story 54. Cutting hair. I want this to be my side hustle. Story 55. Self-discipline. I would get much more done in my life, like eating breakfast instead of scrolling on Reddit for 3 hours. Story 56. I would like to learn every dialect of every language in history. This skill would be very interesting, and the job opportunities would be lucrative. Story 57. Mastering cooking. Imagine preparing gourmet meals every day and never having to rely on takeout again. Story 58. Whistle. I've always wished I could find anyone who can impress me. Story 59. Mathematics. There are large areas of industry that depend on a high level of competency in mathematics. I have taken many mathematics classes, but if I knew 10 times more mathematics, I could do my job 10 times better. Story 60. Coding or dog grooming because I am tired of paying someone for my miniature schnauzer's trims. Story 61. How to learn skills instantly and easily. Choose the most effective option always. Story 62. Mastering a musical instrument like the piano to express emotions through melodies and bring joy to myself and others with beautiful music. Story 63. The ability to quickly and effectively convince people that they are wrong when they are wrong. Story 64. Do I also get the licensure required? I would love to be able to instantly become a master pilot capable of flying any aircraft. Story 65. Sewing and making my own clothes. Gardening and agriculture. Languages. Story 66. Probably how to day trade like a professional, which would include some programming skills. Only about 5% are good enough to make a profit, but the ones that do succeed. Story 67. If money is not a problem, I would choose to learn a new language quickly. If we consider money, I choose making money fast and legally without involving pornography. Story 68. Alchemy. Then I would build a city out of gold, destabilize the world economy, and also do a third cool thing. Story 69. All of you can learn the things you are listing. Do not give up. Story 70. Fluency in multiple languages allows me to express strong disapproval in their native tongue. Story 71. Compartmentalization. Life has a way of throwing a lot of challenges at you at once. It is beneficial to know how to properly prioritize mentally and ignore things until a later time. Story 72. Full stack development. I have always wanted to code to solve problems but never had the foundational education or dedication to pursue it. Story 73. To write epic worldwide chart-topping hit songs, including music and lyrics. Story 74. Singing, if you are really good, allows you to travel the world, perform, and earn money. Additionally, everyone loves a good voice, and you will be in demand. Story 75. Drawing. There are so many images in my mind that I want to put on paper. Story 76. How to make very authentic counterfeit cash without anyone else finding out. Story 77. Customer psychology sales pitch and flow need to be perfected and improved. Story 78. Either being able to speak multiple languages so I can travel the world without a language barrier. Alternatively, being handy and able to do any car and home repairs myself, which would save me a lot of money in the long run. Story 79. All forms of physical healing, with an emphasis on herbalism and natural healing. Story 80. Being fluent in many languages, preferably all, is my goal. I love books. I enjoy meeting new people. I want my job to be related to languages. Story 81. Master any skill like a professional described in books by just reading them. Today I am a car mechanic, and tomorrow I could be a heart surgeon or a professional surfer. Story 82. I've been surprised there are no classes that teach you how to fix cars, at least where I am. It is hard to get started if you are basically at zero. All of the classes seem to focus on working as a professional mechanic, but I am just a middle-aged person who wants to tinker on an older car. Story 83. How to persuade people to willingly give me anything I want. Story 84. I would like to learn how to cure any cancer. At the very least, I would help many people and most likely become very wealthy. Story 85. Unreal Engine 5 game development. I have wanted to create a great game using Unreal Engine 5 for almost a decade, but have not taken the time to properly learn the engine and how to use it. Story 86. I always wanted to learn the guitar. I made progress during my university days. However, after my graduation, I was unable to continue. Story 87. Family medicine. I work part-time as a doctor while continuing to do the job that interests me more than medicine does. The alarming shortage of family doctors where I live ensures I have as much work as I need or want. I am helping the community and making decent money as a side job. I am not interested in surgery, internal medicine, psychiatry, emergency room, or similar fields. I focus on helping regular people with their ailments. Story 88. Any construction work, such as electrical, plumbing, and building walls. I just want to be able to rebuild my own house. Story 89. How to use the Reddit search function so I do not make the same posts every hour. Story 90. To quickly acquire multiple skills. Story 91. I would like to be really good at playing the piano or programming. Story 92. Finance. Knowing how to handle money is a skill everyone should have, and it astounds me that it is not taught in every school. Story 93. Hard choice. Instantly learning all languages would be nice, but if it is only one, I would rather pick sewing, like full seamstress skill, not just sewing a button, or the first one that came to mind, playing the violin. Story 94. The skill of enjoying and even becoming addicted to exercise. It always feels like a slog, something I have to do rather than want to do, but I keep hearing stories about people who absolutely love it. I have no idea how to build a bridge from here to there. Story 95. Sales. Salespeople can make a lot of money quickly. Everything in life involves sales. Trying to negotiate a good deal on a car? That is sales. Trying to connect with someone at the bar? Sales. Trying to convince your child to stop doing something? Sales. Trying to get out of a traffic ticket with just a warning? Sales. It is all sales. Story 96. Learn the skill of speaking without being misunderstood. The reason is obvious. Story 97. The ability to learn very quickly would allow me to acquire a lot of knowledge, which I believe would bring the greatest benefit to my life. Story 98. Woodworking is the ability to make anything out of wood. The biggest problem is that I am scared to death of saws. I know I could take classes and carve by hand, but I am 60 and have issues with my hands now. Story 99. Learning language or fabric work. Nothing too fancy, but being able to make your own clothes and other comfort items seems like a worthwhile skill given how either poor quality or expensive most clothes are. Also, coding and hacking would be useful skills. Story 100. All languages from everywhere and every time, not just from Earth. Story 101. Handyman and crafting skills. My life shall become a video game in real life. Story 102. Always wanted to learn a musical instrument, and the piano just seems really cool, or the bass. Story 103. Math because I am very bad at it, or car and motorcycle repair skills because I want to learn them badly. Story 104. How to make $1 billion just by thinking about it. Or how to have all Superman's powers. Story 105. Likability and charisma are the abilities to connect deeply with others and leave a positive impression when you part ways. Story 106. I misread this as any kill and immediately thought of death touch. Story 107. The skill to persuade anybody. I can persuade Elon Musk to step down as the chief executive officer of X and let X actually be good for once. And give me a few $1 billion as well. Story 108. Languages. I want to be able to communicate with people without feeling like a fool. Story 109. Copywriting. I am a writer, and it is my dream, but conversion is hard for me. Story 110. I would get myself the gift of gab. You know how some people can just talk and talk? How do they do it? I could never. Story 111. Learn as in master? So, singing. I am already a fairly good singer, but I am nowhere near as good as I want to be. Story 112. Stock trading allowed me to make decent money without having to socialize with the public. Story 113. How to steal everything from billionaires and be untraceable. Story 114. Coding is where the money is. However, I have no patience for it. Story 115. Does it have to be realistic? If not, flying as in flying like a bird, not flying a plane. If it has to be realistic, I would love to be able to develop my own game, including programming and doing the 3D modeling and animation. It has always felt too difficult for me. Story 116. Speaking European languages fluently, including dialects. Examples of dialects include Austrian German, Swiss Italian, and Mexican Spanish. I wish my dad had had more time to teach me Russian and German when I was a child. I wanted to learn, but he did not have the time to help. Story 117. I am a pretty good guitar player but cannot play lead guitar. I would like to learn that. Story 118. I would love to be a virtuoso. I love music but feel restricted by the limited skill I have in performing it. Story 119. I would learn every language so I can communicate with everyone effectively. Story 120. How to properly perform tricks with a butterfly knife because they are really cool. Story 121. Coding. If anyone has a guide or a popular place to learn programming, that would be great. Story 122. I would instantly learn to become amazing at any instrument I play, specifically violin, guitar, or piano. Story 123. Becoming a luthier. I would love to be able to make my own guitars. I believe it mainly applies to acoustic stringed instruments, but I would love to be able to make a custom acoustic or an electric guitar. Story 124. Trade. I work in trade and I am horrible at it. Home repair and renovation. There are no repairmen or handymen anymore. Story 125. To be able to speak and understand any language immediately. Story 126. Does learning a new language count as a skill? Because that would be really useful. Story 127. Skateboarding. I was decent enough at one point but don't feel like breaking a bone trying to get better. Story 128. I would learn about civil infrastructure and see if human systems could be improved. For example, if you visit a forest and see a high voltage sign, you might notice steam in the area. This happens because water is evaporating from the ground, causing trees to dry up and become susceptible to forest fires. This is similar to human skin without sunscreen or moisture, making us more vulnerable to the sun. For trees, it can be so severe that they catch on fire. A possible solution might be to pull moisture from the ground. This could result in increased electrical energy in the air, which might enhance human intelligence. The process of converting oxygen and the body's energy into electrical charges, which the brain uses, should be studied. We need to better understand how our body and brain operate. It is all related to energy accounting. There is also much to improve in recycling, garbage disposal, and related systems. I recently got athlete's foot. If I wash it down the drain, the fungus might survive in our infrastructure. Similarly, when disposing of moist items like napkins or towels, bacteria and fungi could end up in landfills. Over time, these microorganisms might grow, evolve, and cause problems. Humans have much to learn beyond the corporate world and finance. This is only the beginning. The current system should be reconsidered so people can pursue research for its own sake and approach institutions if they have ideas. Everyday life should have less pressure from the cost of living. Real estate prices are a good place to start. America may not yet have the desired population mix. Perhaps it needs more people from Asia. Fortunately, China and other Asian countries have large populations. Once a country achieves a balanced population mixture, neighborhoods and cities could be designed for specific purposes, allowing people to visit for various reasons. Story 129. Car frame welding because I need to save my BMW E36, and no one knows trades anymore. Story 130. Generalized vehicular mechanics provide on-road and roadside diesel and gasoline car repair services to support myself. Story 131. Learning advanced photography techniques to capture the world's beauty and tell compelling stories through stunning images. Story 132. Drums. I would like to be able to play drums as well as I play guitar. It would be very convenient. I could also do some session gigs to supplement my income. Unfortunately, I don't have any space to get started on that. Story 133. I would like to be able to sing. I do sing in my car, but it would be great to have a vocal coach to learn how to sing properly. Story 134. Machinist. If you can make your own tools, you can eventually learn to use the tools you make. Story 135. I might go with pole vaulting. My physique isn't big enough to ruin my Olympic dreams. Story 136. How to draw. I have always really appreciated art, but unfortunately I have no artistic capability whatsoever. If I could draw, I would then make my drawings or designs into three-dimensional models. Story 137. Drawing. I have zero talent for it and wasted 6 long years trying to create my own comics, thinking I would create the next big thing like The Walking Dead. Story 138. I would develop the ability to quickly learn and pick up things. That is absolutely a learned skill, and being able to learn languages in a few months or understand complex topics would be life-changing. Story 139. To have good vision and not need to wear glasses. Tired of wearing them. Story 140. Fluency in multiple languages and master mechanic, including diesel. Story 141. How to make the Philosopher's Stone. Story 142. Multi-language speaker, good swimmer, great poker or any card game player. Story 143. Talking to anyone without ever feeling awkward would help me a lot. Making friends, being liked by people, and being outgoing. Story 144. Social skills. Frankly, anything else is redundant. You can communicate with social cues to let people know what you want and understand what they want. It is also a great way to earn money, have a good personal life with friends and family, and find a partner you like who likely likes you too. Story 145. The ability to be focused and calm regardless of the circumstances. Story 146. Anatomy. I am an artist and I do karate, so it is extra beneficial for me. Story 147. Multilingualism, trades to fix things around my apartment, learning to build things, accounting and taxes, and massage and physiotherapy, as well as bartending. I have always wanted to be certified in these skills to work around the world if I travel. Story 148. Music. I am convinced that making music is the only reason for humans to exist. I would love to be of service to this cause. Story 149. Technology-related repairs, so if anything breaks, I can fix it the right way instead of hiring someone. Story 150. Plumbing and electrical workers are earning most of the money. Story 151. I wish I could download languages like they did skills in the Matrix. If it were just one, then Spanish or Japanese. Story 152. I would learn how to be grateful for living in a country where warlords are not cutting our heads off today. That trivial nonsense does not matter, yet humans, including myself, tend to be preoccupied with trivial matters and seldom stop to appreciate the good things and tell people you love them. I am not a young person anymore, and this is a lesson learned late. Gratitude takes practice. Story 153. Become a top-level coder and start living the technology professional life. Story 154. Negotiation is important. It can help in everyday activities, not just in situations like salary or job negotiation. Story 155. Creating medication and finding cures begins with developing a solution for diabetes and cancer. Make it free or at least available at cost, and distribute it worldwide, overcoming any intimidation from large pharmaceutical companies trying to stop me. Story 156. How to understand women's logic so I can comprehend what men are doing wrong. Story 157. The ability to never be bored. Life would never feel dull until the day I die. Story 158. Master the Arabic language. Why? Semitic language that is currently the oldest being spoken in the modern world. The writing is beautiful. Ability to communicate with many different people. Understand the Quran completely, which even native speakers struggle with due to the phrasing of certain verses. Read very old history books dating from Baghdad, at least what remains. Unlock the history of modern mathematics, which is based on Arabic numerals. The list goes on. Also, apparently part of US records are in classical Arabic, as the language has varied very little over thousands of years, while English has changed drastically. However, this information may not be completely accurate. Story 159. To understand people better, figure out all the silent social rules that nobody tells you. Learn how to communicate in ways that do not make them angry. Discover how to be kind without it being considered condescending. These are all the little things that have been completely lost on me. Story 160. Apart from learning new languages and playing the piano, my grandmother used to have a very small piano, and younger me loved trying to play it. It is a shame I never pursued it. Story 161. I want to quickly learn any skill. Infinite skills glitch unlocked. Story 162. I would learn the skill of acquiring any ability instantly. Story 163. If I could learn any skill instantly, I would choose the skill to learn something just by watching someone do it or by reading about it. Story 164. Learning to express my emotions, especially anger, in a healthy and understandable way. Story 165. Probably Python programming. Write my own new internet concept startups. Story 166. Enjoyable learning allows me to study any subject and find the process satisfying. Story 167. I am in my 70s. I have always wanted to juggle. It may sound silly, but I would like to get into the zone while juggling. It seems like it would be calming. I am sure you are laughing, but it would be fun. Story 168. Languages. I am not very good at learning languages, but I wish I could because I love to travel and want to work abroad. Story 169. The ability to stop procrastinating and actually do the things I need to do to improve my life. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.